This evening, first up, passports confiscated, wages withheld for months, and a worker dead. Indian nationals at a remote Region 7 quarry says they were lured from home with promises that never matched reality. The Ministry of Labour is now investigating, and the opposition is demanding answers. Then, 90,000 streetlights and 2,000 CCTV cameras are on the way to communities across Guyana. The Vice President says the hardware has already arrived. Safer roads, better lit neighborhoods, and a surveillance network expanding from safe city to safe country. Plus, Guyana Festival 2026 closes its doors after 3 days of culture, music, and Diamond Jubilee Pride. Thousands packed the National Stadium as the country celebrated 60 years of independence. The celebrations, however, are far from over. Meanwhile, a minibus is hitting the road, but not for passengers. The government's new mobile outreach unit will bring scholarships, training programs, and public services directly to communities that have long been out of reach. And Ebola is back. A confirmed case in Goma in eastern Congo has Rwanda closing its main border crossing, medical teams scrambling, and a region that knows this virus all too well, bracing for what comes next. Those stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for May 18, 2026. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, the government is set to roll out a major national security upgrade with the installation of 90,000 streetlights and 2,000 CCTV cameras across Guyana in the coming months as part of efforts to create safer, better lit communities and strengthen public security. Vice President Dr. Jagdeo confirmed last week that the streetlights have already arrived in the country and will now be deployed across towns and villages nationwide. He said the program is aimed at improving visibility on roads for drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians, with the added benefits of reducing road accidents and enhancing community safety. The CCTV expansion will be carried out under the government's Safe Country Initiative, a technology-driven security program designed to improve surveillance and support intelligence-led policing. Officials say the system will help modernize national security operations through wider monitoring coverage. The initiative forms part of the government's broader development agenda, which prioritizes safer and more organized and better service communities. It is also being paired with investments in drainage infrastructure and recreational facilities as part of wider community upgrades. Dr. Jagdeo noted that the program reflects commitments already made to the public, stating that a lot of these things we promised are now being implemented as part of ongoing national development efforts. In other news, as the curtain goes down on the Guyana Festival 2026, thousands of patrons at the Guyana National Stadium were immersed in the vibrant celebrations of the country's rich cultural diversity as part of Guyana's 60th independence anniversary activities. The festival brought together cultural groups, artisans, performers, and exhibitors from across the country in a colorful showcase of Ghana's multi-ethnic heritage and tradition. Historic booths, live demonstration, concerts, and cultural displays highlighted the customs, cuisines, fashion, music, and artistry of various ethnic groups that continue to shape the nation's identity, including African, East Indian, Indigenous, Portuguese, Chinese, and European influences. Among the exhibitors was Wayne Wilson, who proudly represented Ghana's indigenous heritage through handcrafted cultural pieces reflecting the traditions and creativity of the country's first peoples. Artists and instructors also engaged patrons through live leather art demonstrations while expressing pride in seeing African culture accurately represented during the celebrations. Patrons were treated to cultural dances, drumming performances, theatrical presentations, and interactive experiences designed to educate and entertain visitors of all ages. The festival formed part of the government's wider push to promote cultural preservation, tourism, and national unity through Guyana's Diamond Jubilee celebrations. The celebration continues with other activities throughout May, including a road parade on Independence Day, May 26th. On a different note, A security breach at the Lusignan prison has triggered a full-scale police investigation after a remanded inmate managed to slip out of custody in broad daylight on Sunday. Police are investigating the escape of the prisoner from the Lusignan prison on the east coast of Demerara, which reportedly occurred between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Sunday. The inmate, identified as Adrian Dahmer of Graham Street, Better Hope, was on remand at the facility since January 14, 2026, facing 2 counts of threatening language. Authorities confirmed that police ranks have been deployed to the prison as investigations intensify into how the escape occurred and whether any security breaches contributed to the incident. Officials have not yet released further details on the circumstances surrounding the escape, but says inquiries are underway. The Ghana Police Force has indicated that additional information will be provided as it becomes available. Stick around when we return. Government appoints new regional executive officers to strengthen governance, and the government is coming into your community on a bus.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Forget traveling long distances to access government services. The government is now bringing those services directly to citizens, with the Ministry of Public Service launching a dedicated mobile outreach bus that will travel to communities nationwide. Driven by the vision of President Dr. Muhammad Irfanali, the initiative is designed to make government programs more accessible, efficient, and responsive, particularly for residents in areas where accessing information and support has traditionally been a challenge. The mobile outreach bus will visit communities across the country, offering residents on-the-spot access to a wide range of services and opportunities, including Citizen Connect, Gov Connect, Skills Connect, Coursera training opportunities, scholarships, and other key public programs. The Ministry of Public Service, Government Efficiency and Implementation says the initiative forms part of the government's broader commitment to strengthen service delivery and ensuring that essential services are never out of reach for any Guyanese citizen, regardless of where they live. The mobile bus complements government service centers already established in several regions, further expanding the administration's footprint at the community level and reinforcing its push toward a more connected and accessible Guyana. For communities that have long felt disconnected from the services and opportunities available in Georgetown and major towns, the arrival of the outreach bus represents a tangible step towards closing that gap, putting scholarships, training programs, and government support directly at people's doorsteps. Details on the bus schedule and community visit dates are expected to be released by the ministry in the coming days. In other news, the Ministry of Labor has launched an investigation into allegations of labor abuses and unsafe working conditions at the Eka Harem quarry in Batava, Region 7, following complaints of several Indian national workers and the death of one employee. Minister of Labor Kiyuma Griffith confirmed that authorities are probing reports of occupational safety violations, delayed wages, withheld passports, and poor living conditions at the remote quarry site operated by India-based Ekaharam Earth Resource Management. The issue gained public attention after opposition leader Azruddin Mohammed met with workers who alleged that they were subjected to exploitative conditions and denied timely salaries. Workers also claimed that the company confiscated their passports and severely limited access to healthcare and emergency transportation. The workers, who employed at the quarry for up to 3 years, said recruitment promises made in India did not match the harsh conditions they encountered in Guyana. They alleged that wages were delayed for months, pay slips were never provided, and deductions were made without explanation. The concerns intensified following the sudden death of an employee. While workers suggested overwork and unsafe conditions contributed to the tragedy, the company stated that a post-mortem examination confirmed the man died from a heart attack. In a statement, Ekaharam denied claims circulating on social media, describing them as misleading and inaccurate. The company said it is cooperating with the Indian High Commission, the Ministry of Labour, and other authorities to address the matter transparently. Meanwhile, opposition representatives have called for the immediate return of workers' passports, payment of outstanding wages, compensation for affected workers, and the repatriation of employees wishing to return to India. Moving on, the government of Guyana has announced the appointment of new regional executive officers for all 10 regions, following approval by President Dr. Mohamed Irfaan. According to the government, the newly appointed REOs are expected to work closely with regional administrations, local democratic organs, and communities to strengthen governance, improve public service delivery, and support the implementation of development programs across the country. Officials says the appointments form part of the government's broader effort to build professional, responsive, and people-centered institutions capable of advancing inclusive development in every region of Guyana. The government also noted that the newly appointed regional executive officers will play a key role in coordinating regional projects and ensuring that communities benefit from ongoing national development initiatives. Don't go away after the break. Florida bans non-English driving tests amid immigration debate, and Mali truck drivers defy armed group blockade to keep Bamako supplied.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins. Tonight, the Bahamas deports over 100 Haitians, including minors. An Ebola case in Goma sends fears across eastern Congo as Rwanda shuts its borders. An Al-Qaeda-linked group tightens its stranglehold around Mali's capital, and Florida makes English the only language for its driving tests. We will begin in the Bahamas. The Bahamas Department of Immigration has deported 107 Haitian nationals, including 22 women and 5 minors, following immigration violations such as overstaying and illegal landing. The 5 minors will be handed to Child Welfare Service upon arrival in Haiti. 15 other foreign nationals were also deported early in the week. Fear is spreading across the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo after authorities confirmed an Ebola case in the city of Goma. Rwanda has temporarily closed its main border crossing with Goma as a precautionary measure to prevent possible cross-border transmission impacting one of the region's busy trade and travel routes. Al Jazeera's Alan Waikani reports.
Fear is spreading across Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo after authorities confirmed an Ebola case in the city of Goma. Rwanda has now temporarily closed its main border crossing with the city, one of the busiest in the region, as officials try to prevent possible cross-border transmission. For many residents here, the outbreak is reviving memories of previous Ebola epidemics that killed thousands in eastern Congo.
We're worried about this Ebola outbreak because we have very bad memories of what happened in the past with Ebola. It may be worse if nothing is done. We hope authorities will take strong measures against this outbreak.
The current outbreak began in Ituri province, where health workers are struggling to contain infection around Bunia and Rwapara. Medical teams have increased surveillance and protective measures, but concern remain high among residents.
We've been hearing about deaths around here for weeks now, and we don't see much in terms of medical treatment. If the spread continues the way it is, we are worried that Uganda could close the border, and that would make life even harder for communities here.
Health officials say the constant movement of people between Ituri, North Kivu and neighboring countries increases the risk of the outbreak spreading. Authorities had initially feared the suspected case in the capital Kinshasa could signal broader transmission, although medical officials later declared that test negative. In Goma, under control of fighters from the M23 group and already isolated by months of conflict and the closure of its main airport, the outbreak presents another major challenge.
As soon as the outbreak was declared in Bunia town, we quickly put in place a preventative measure to deal with potential cases. And today we have confirmed one. We have activated all different contingency plans to protect our population under our control.
But uncertainty remains over how an effective response can be maintained in a conflict zone where negotiations over aid corridors remain unresolved. Here in Goma, concerns are rising after an Ebola case was confirmed. Rwanda has closed its border crossing and people are worried the outbreak could further strain a region already affected by conflict and humanitarian challenges. Health officials say surveillance, contact tracing and screening operations are being reinforced across affected areas as efforts continue to stop the outbreak from spreading further across the region. Allen Waikani, Al Jazeera, Goma, DRC.
For a third week, an Al-Qaeda-linked armed group has tightened its blockade around Mali's capital, Bamako, increasing pressure on supply routes into the landlocked country. Al Jazeera's Nicholas Haig reports.
He drove through the night from a city under siege, dodging fighters on the road. Finally safe at the port of Abidjan in Ivory Coast, Abdurrahman Bacharu waits to load his truck with wheat bound for Bamako in central Mali, where food supplies are running low. Their journey back is frightening, he says. Members of the Al-Qaeda-linked JNIM group hiding along the route, operating checkpoints, deciding who passes.
I am worried about my country, but I will not stop working. Even though the country is going through a crisis and nothing is moving, we are the only ones providing a lifeline and bringing things in.
And this is what JNIM checkpoints in Mali often look like. Young men, sometimes barely out of their teens, on motorbikes with machine guns mounted on the back. Fast, mobile and lightly equipped, they stop trucks and buses on key roads leading to Bamako. Drivers say fighters search vehicles, force passengers off buses, and separate men and women according to their interpretation of Islamic law. Armed groups have also burned some trucks carrying food and goods. The blockade is choking the flow of supplies and spreading fear. Landlocked Mali depends on the port of Abidjan for goods, food and fuel. Here, Malian truck drivers gather to share concerns, warnings and tips on which routes may still be passable. The president of the West African Union of Truck Drivers has come to reassure them.
Preventing these vehicles from moving and delivering food to people is in effect condemning the population. That's why we continue to appeal to armed groups to allow these trucks to pass.
There is, in their attempt to keep supplies moving towards Bamako, an air of defiance against fear, intimidation, and a blockade designed to make the Malian people surrender. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera, Abidjan, Ivory Coast.
Florida has introduced a major change in its driving test system. Applicants can now only take the tests in English. Al Jazeera's Phil Lavelle reports.
Getting around Miami is tough at the best of times. The traffic is terrible. And even getting behind the wheel might be a bit of a job from now on. If you don't read English, you might have a problem. Because Florida has just reinvented its driving test. Only English is allowed. All other previous languages have gone. No translation apps, no interpreters. And remember, this is a state with a massive Hispanic population. In fact, 75% of people here in Miami-Dade alone speak a foreign language at home.
What was working wasn't broken, so why break it and change it?
Melissa teaches people how to drive for a living, primarily in Spanish. For her and them, this is, as they say, gran problema. Translation?
Big problem. So I'm talking about the cleaning lady. I'm talking about the person that's a housekeeper, a cafeteria worker that needs to make ends meet, and they're gonna just continue driving out of necessity because they gotta pick up their kids, they gotta go to the hospital, they gotta go to work.
This is what safety advocates point to. A crash on Florida's busy Turnpike Freeway last year. 3 people were killed when they hit a lorry. Its driver, an undocumented migrant who didn't speak English, was allegedly performing an illegal turn. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis asking, how are you going to drive if you have no English? Adding drivers need to be able to read the road signs. But just remember where we are. See, Florida is one of the US's top tourism destinations, welcoming around 9 million overseas visitors in 2024. And here's the thing, foreign drivers are not required to speak English to rent a car here, which means there are already lots of non-English speakers on this state's roads, particularly around the Interstate 4, frequently cited as the most dangerous road in all of the US.
I do not see the relationship between being a safe driver and being able to speak English.
That's Margaret. False name, but real story. Her identity hidden because she's Haitian. And Haitians are frightened here right now. The streets of Miami's Little Haiti largely empty. Many scared of being deported. And with Haitian Creole also off the language list. Scared of taking the driving test now too, even if they need to drive.
They're treating us as non-humans. They're denying us our humanity.
Folks who drive will be very tempted to take onto the streets without a driver's license, which means that sometimes it increases the number of hit and runs. It's not about safer roads, but it's about targeting immigrants.
For those who don't speak English, here at least, their driving ambitions are now at a dead end. Phil Lavelle, Al Jazeera, Miami.
Thanks, Dominique. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3D weather forecast. And that's it to V2 Headline News for this Monday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.